Hello and welcome back to the Drive-In. This week I take a look at a debut film that you guys picked in my recent poll here on YouTube. The movie that won was Devil in the Woods. It's like I said, a debut entertainment film. It's also from Snapped Fibula production as well. A group of old friends come together to work on a media project, but as time passes and the deadline approaches, frictions arise between them. Unfortunately, they've also made themselves the targets of a mass cult hidden amongst them. This comes complete with extras of the making of Devil in the Woods, and it has a Devil in the Woods official trailer as well. This clocks in at about 72 minutes, 16:9 presented out of 2021. My only problem with this movie is I was hoping, based on the thumb I made this week for the video, I was kind of hoping it was more kind of like The Strangers, that kind of thing. They did an amazing job, though, for $3,000 American dollars, because this is based in the UK, this film. And, you'll see going into this, when you watch it, you can kind of tell it's based out of the UK with the accents and whatnot, but kind of does have that UK feel to it as well, like the landscapes and whatnot. It currently gets a 3.0 on IMDb. It says, too, this was also presented by 𝙂𝙖𝙍𝙍𝙃𝙤𝙬 Limited, which I've done some things for 𝙂𝙖𝙍𝙍. Stars Tim Faraday, Danny Thompson, Francesca Howe, Alex Slade, Daniel Whale, Amy Joy, Gemma Wilkes, Nicholas Pierce. Music was done by Andriy Salfatov. And this was directed by Terrence Elliott, who also is an actor, I guess, in the UK. Seeing people on IMDb saying it's very boring, very skippable. I mean, I guess I could kind of see a little bit of what they're saying, but I really feel like that's kind of unfair, because you got to keep in the fact that this film was done on a $3,000 budget. It looks immaculate for $3,000. I was really surprised how well it was put together on that shoestring budget. This is probably one of the lower budgeted films I've done for debut in a while. I can't say I recommend it, only because I don't like all the comedy. That it starts off really very heavy comedic stuff, and that kind of threw me off throughout. But once the killers start showing up in this, the cult members, it's pretty cool. I mean, I like the mask look. I mean, it's pretty generic. I mean, it's not nothing that we haven't seen in other films before. But at the same token, I think it does have fun with itself, which is fine. But I'm more more like in line with horror that's straight up horror and it's dark, that kind of thing. If you're going for a light and fluffy comedic slasher film, this will be right up your alley. But if you're going for the darker tone, kind of like in The Strangers and that kind of thing, this would be the movie for you. This movie is actually released on January 8th, 2021. If for you people out there that like exact dates. I don't know how well it did financially, but like I say, I can't recommend it. I did catch this. I didn't actually watch the physical disc. I did catch it on one of those free watch movie sites or whatever. I don't know how I found it, but I did. And I don't know, I watched it. It went by fast, I will say that. I will say I enjoyed this movie much more so than I did the one I'm doing next week. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, because that kind of defeats the purpose of doing a review next week. But I did like this one to a degree because of the slasher aspect. But then, on the other hand, I didn't like all the comedy. And it took a while to get going. And I do see why some people say it's very skippable on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm kind of on the fence with what did you expect, for a $3,000 film. I thought it was amazingly done for, a shoestring budget it was on. But yeah, that's my review on Devil in the Woods. Here, look at the back. I don't know if you can see the three cult killers there in the back. Just trying to see if there's trying to see. Okay, it was also written by Terrence Elliott, who was the director and an actor. But yeah, that's my review. Make sure you tell your friends about Gary's Horror Drive-In, and I'll be back next week with the final debut title. Like I say, I ain't gonna mention it because, I mean, if you've been following along for the last few weeks, you kind of weigh down what one's left if followed along on the poll. But that's my review. Like I said, tell your friends about Gary's Horror Drive-In. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. And I'll be back with more horror next week. And sometime soon I should be doing some things for Movie Zing. I got back re-enrolled with them. And I'd like to do a shout out to a channel that I'm part of as well. Discuss Impact Wrestling Podcast. We do a weekly podcast on there on YouTube. And currently, we're in cahoots with WWE. So if you're a WWE fan, drop on in. We do put over WWE often enough on there. We do mention things. Jay talks about WWE, NXT. He does watch that. I should probably get into that, but make sure you watch us on the podcast. Well, you can't watch us. We're a straight up podcast where we're all talk and no see kind of thing. But yeah, check out Discuss Impact, TNA Impact Wrestling Podcast, and I'll be back next week with more horror goodness. And have a good night, good evening, good weekend, and the rest of your week. And I'll be back next week. Bye.